Welcome to the Good Talk Podcast, where we remind you of the joy of life, the love of God, and the possibilities that lie ahead. Pete and Jordan here.
Woohoo! We're back.
Episode 43, What Adele and I Have in Common.
This is my jam.
I love this title. I'm super excited about this.
I love Adele. Also, sorry we took a 2-week break. We warned you guys that this might happen.
It was
Newborn
longer
life.
than 2 weeks, wasn't it?
I think, no, we just had 2 weeks off.
Okay.
2 weeks
That's
off.
not bad.
But
I don't apologize for that.
But we've been working on something really exciting.
We have. Oh,
So that's why we missed.
excited.
It wasn't even because we have a newborn. Actually, I mean, probably, but ultimately,
That didn't help.
it didn't help the problem.
Okay. I got so many things I want to say right now. But yes, I'm super excited about this new project. It's called Goal Getter.
Yep.
So last year we did a thing called Dream Year that some of you will remember. It was a year-long program. About 30 of you. We did 2 groups of 15.
We started with just 15, and then we were
filled
like,
up,
we
so
just
we added
doubled
15
it.
more. Year-long program, amazing. Still got a month to go. Gosh, I've made so many just good friends and connections, and it's been really cool to see what those 2 groups have done over the past year. But we're going to kind of change it up next year. Instead of doing a thing called Dream Year, we're doing a thing called Goal Getter. And we won't get all into it now, but we just filmed it last week.
Yeah, you're right. It was, I guess, almost 2 weeks ago.
And there'll be a couple options. There's going to be a group coaching option. Then there's an option that you can kind of do a self-study,
Self-guided,
kind of do on your own. And then there's a very limited, just a couple spots of one-on-one goal getter coaching.
But it's not a year anymore, which
No.
we loved the year thing. And I say you've been the mastermind behind that. But we just felt like some people may not have a year to commit, and why limit it to just the people who can commit a year?
Yep.
So you found kind of like the best, like hard hitting like just good content for the whole year, and narrowed it into a certain amount of
A
sessions.
year of walking with these 2 groups through achieving their most important goals. I learned a lot that I want to apply to this next goal getter session, and I'm
excited.
We'll tell you more about it.
So that's why we've been off, but we back.
So we've been focused on that and recording that, and you've been working on that as well. But we're back, and it's what Adele and I have in common. And for those of you watching on YouTube, lighting probably looks a little different because we're filming late at night.
That is because of a newborn.
And if it sounds like we're kind of whispering, it's because
We kind of are.
we are, and we're praying to God she doesn't wake up. I love this kid, but enough today.
It's been a hard day. Today was a hard day. Yeah, we had no intention of recording this at night, but here we are. We're making do. We love this podcast. We love you guys. So we're doing it at night. We're giving up our Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
Not that we watch that. We don't watch that. I'm
That's
just kidding.
a strong word. I don't
Anyways.
like that show. Oh, can I say one more thing?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Or were you going to say something about Christmas decor?
Yeah, because I like literally could see
But
the
it's
decor
only,
in
I
our
don't want
background.
to cheat those listening, but for those of you on YouTube, it's Christmas decor, and there's a fire on back there.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
okay.
it's cold.
So we decorated about a week earlier than we normally do, which is about a month earlier than
Everybody
most
else.
people do. But it took us, I mean, how many days? 5 days? And I say us very lightly because Pete had the heavy lifting of putting up the Halloween and getting down the Christmas, because I was almost always with Pepper.
Did we ever talk about our 12-foot tall skeleton?
Yes, we
did?
did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a lot, which is now sitting in our
not
attic.
fun to take down.
No, but now we have Christmas exploding. Only thing we have left is our Christmas tree, which we will cut down this weekend from the farm.
Yep.
We are fully decorated. The only problem is you and I have different philosophies on Christmas decor and what is considered A-okay and what is not A-okay.
I know. I love inflatables. I'm going to be honest. I love them. I would buy 100 inflatables and line our entire street in them.
If our house could be inflatable, I think you would choose that life.
I just love them.
So he loves them. We went to Lowe's yesterday just to because apparently we didn't have enough. So our compromise has been ever since we got married, hey, we got to rein in the inflatable game. I'm not a fan. I love it if you are, those listening. I don't know. I want the classic Christmas. I want the garland and the wreaths and the white lights.
I love inflatable. And not only do I love inflatables, I love inflatables that have motion. So if they like the snowman that shakes, I love that.
Gosh.
I love the the Santa in a plane and the propeller spins.
Yeah, no. So we have Santa and his full reindeer on our roof that's inflatable. So you got your inflatable
and
fix.
I have to get out on the roof almost every single night and fix it.
Yeah, and I don't care that you have to do that
reindeer are laying over on their side.
Do you know why they're laying on their side? Because they're inflatable.
No, because they're on the roof and they're not designed to be on the roof. And
little
the wind
pockets of air. Anyways, I am like, you are ordering another inflatable because apparently we have a big gap in the yard. So I'm over it, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Christmas.
I just love this time of year. I love that we're here.
Yep. You know what we did last night? So we watched, and actually it was by accident. We watched the Adele special.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're listening like the week that this comes out, Adele's album for the first time in 6 years, she hadn't released an album in 6 years, is coming out on Friday. Mm-hmm. And
you love Adele, don't you?
You know, I love Adele, sure. I like her as much as most people do. I'm not like a super fan, but her most recent single made me love her.
Okay. You were talking more about special, or you want to go right there?
No, the special was amazing. I mean, we didn't really know what to expect. Oprah interviewed her. It was in the most beautiful venue. It was like the observatory in Hollywood or LA. I don't know, whatever.
I so wish I could have been there.
Gorgeous. The whole time Pete and I were watching this, first of all, we both cried at different times. Second, all I could think about was like, I want to produce this. I want to produce this. I want to produce this.
All I was thinking is because I saw Ellen in the crowd, I was thinking, I wish I was sitting next to Ellen watching this.
No, there was all kinds of celebrities. There was Leo DiCaprio, Melissa McCarthy, Drake. I mean, just the full gamut of celebrity. It was just like, that has to be the pinnacle, has to be the pinnacle of like an artist's career to be in that environment. And then you're singing to like your colleagues and the people in your industry. It's craziness. Anyway, it was gorgeous.
Speaking of that though, I've talked to several entertainers over the years who talk about when they sing at award shows, it's their most nerve-wracking time.
Right. Because
they're in front of their colleagues. Like they're in front of people like that whether it's happening or not, they feel like people are judging them, comparing.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. But still, it was stunning.
Had been an amazing night for her. But it's special for you because, like so her new single is called what?
Easy on Me.
Easy on Me. And
so her whole album comes out Friday, and they've been calling it like her divorce album is what they've been calling it. And I was kind of not looking forward to it. Anyway, continue.
But you heard this single, and I remember you coming to me and being like, you have to listen to this song.
Yeah. And what do you think?
Well, like most Adele songs, I mean, my first thought is I probably could have done that better.
Oh my gosh. Said no one ever about an Adele song. Okay.
No, I thought it was amazing.
Okay. No. So, they were talking about this album that's coming out. It was much anticipated. She had just kind of been MIA for good reason, for her own, sake. That's what she chose. But they were like, oh, it's a big divorce album, blah, blah, blah. And because I've been divorced, I often think when I hear divorce album, it's going to be someone who's like, my ex sucks. I hate them. They're the worst, power to me, which that's fine. Like those songs exist and I'll sing those too. But this song was so fresh for me. Like I hadn't heard anyone in pop culture really take this stance.
Okay, well, let's go there. Let's go there. Tell me, I mean, what about it moved you so deeply?
Well, okay. Obviously, the part about it being a pop culture song that already meant that there was going to be a large amount of people hearing this. So it just meant a lot to me in that way by itself. And then the message was that of compassion for the person who may have gone through the divorce, but it was their choice. Okay. And so I say their choice lightly because obviously no one in their right mind would choose like what it feels like to go through a divorce. No one wants that for their life, right? Like you think, oh, they wanted that, they wanted that, so they're okay.
So can we say by choosing, ultimately, she was the one who said, this isn't working? Like,
Yeah. And she put an end to it. And it's heartbreaking. Doesn't matter who you are and what situation you are in, a divorce is heartbreaking. And so I think the reason it resonated so much with me is because she was the one that wanted it and needed it to be true to herself. Like she had to make that decision to be true to herself. And, you know, if you listen to any of her interviews, she never wanted to get a divorce. She didn't get married wanting a divorce. No one does. Why would you? But there's just something about the honesty of her lyrics that just shook me in another way. And it's super, you know, you've heard me probably for 2 weeks say, I have a post in my brain that I'm writing about this song. Because I resonated so deeply with it because I also chose my divorce because I wasn't true to myself in the very beginning. It's not that, you know, from day one, maybe it just got worse and I just, you know, quote unquote, fell out of love. That's not what happened in my case. Like in my reality was I chose something that wasn't true to me from the get-go. And everyone around me knew that, right?
but you didn't.
I think I knew that deep down. What I didn't allow myself to do was to be honest with myself. For a lot of my life with different people that kind of came in and out, I wanted to fix people. And I'm not saying that my ex needed fixing, but there were certain situations and maybe outcomes that I felt like I could positively impact by being with him. And so I think I just kind of owned the fixer mentality and thought, oh, this will change. I can make it change. And, you know, it didn't. That's not my job. And that's not his fault that that was my mentality. You know, like he didn't force me into that. But it is something that I very much fell into. And yeah. So anyways, I just felt like I wasn't true to myself. So anyways, long story short, I just felt like her lyrics. So if you haven't heard the song, I think it's really important that you go listen to it. Maybe you pause it here and listen to it and come back because it'll mean a lot more if you've heard it.
Or if you want to hear me sing it too.
Sure.
Just shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll sing it.
Why don't you just carry a little tune?
No, I'm not going to do that here. You
said you could do it better.
Oh, yeah, of course. But
anyways, her words. So essentially she's saying, go easy on me. Like I made this decision, but please go easy on me. It's that cry for like compassion of saying, it's not easy on me either. This isn't the life that I had chosen. She has exact lyrics. I have them written down. One that really like hit me hard was, I was still a child. And I think, you know, the lyrics mean different things to different people, right? But in my heart and my mind, what I felt immediately was I was young. I was 24 when I made that decision, right? And not saying you can't make great decisions at 24. I didn't. I was not like confident enough in myself. I wasn't like, I kind of blew. I blew where the wind took me. Is that the right words? Moved where the wind took me. I did. And I just kind of, you know, if I felt like I was helpful to someone here, I'd go there. And if I should mold over here, I would mold over there. And I just didn't know myself enough to be able to choose myself. So anyway, I felt like that. I was still a child. She says I was still a child. I didn't have the chance to feel the world around me. And I felt like that. And I don't think that necessarily always means youth. I think that can mean immaturity or youth in your mentality, in your spirituality, in whatever. Like it can be, I was still a child, and you can be 48 and be a child in, you know, your overall kind of development as a person. It doesn't matter your age. But that meant that to me really resonated. And then she said, I had no time to choose what I chose to do, which to me, and if you've never been probably in a situation where you feel a little pressured to make a decision that impacts your whole life, you may not resonate with that line, but I really did. I didn't have the time. I had no time to choose what I chose to do. I think that's really profound. Like there's just something about that, like that line that is so impactful, because you're essentially saying like you felt so alone and pressured that you just made the decision kind of in the flip of a switch. Does
Yeah.
that make sense to
Yeah.
you? Have you ever had a decision like that?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably have, but none I can think of, like, just off the top of my head.
Yeah. No, to me, that was like, I did. I had a ton of pressure around me. I had time pressures. I was given deadlines to make decisions. I had the like external pressures of the world saying, you have to be married by this time and have kids by this time, you know? Anyway, so I loved those 3 lines were really important to me.
So powerful.
I think ultimately, like what really moved me and what really kind of stopped me in my tracks with the whole song was just the thought about, you know, I made a decision in my youth, in my whatever. I can make every excuse in the world. I know it was true to me, you know, and only I need to really know that. But I hurt someone because of the decision that I made like too soon, you know. I was the only one that hurt in that relationship. But ultimately what makes me, and you know, that was sad and horrible. And I felt guilt about that for a long time. But what makes me more sad is the shame and the embarrassment that 25-year-old me lived in for a really long time. And I lived in that shame and that embarrassment because I felt like I was tarnished. I was unworthy. I was never going to really get that second shot because I messed up the first one.
Yeah.
And this can apply to everything. This can be your job. This can be for other relationships. It doesn't have to be a marriage ending. I'm only relating it to this because that's what her song is about. But it really, it hurts my heart to think about the state that I was in for the length of time because of the shame I felt for standing up for myself. And I think, I don't know, I never wanted to have the like scarlet letter D on me. And I think for that reason, I made a decision I did and all those things. Like I stayed in something too long for that exact reason, but I was dead inside, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I find it really heartbreaking to think that I was so embarrassed and shame filled for finally feeling the courage to speak up for myself. So I don't know. I'm on this like little diatribe with Adele because her and I have literally a very similar situation where we both chose something. We both chose a decision that hurt somebody else, maybe hurt several people. But it was the decision that ultimately helped me, her, whomever live their truth.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, I watched that interview with her, and I think the thing I appreciated so much, and I think the thing you and I both identified with was a couple things that she didn't do. Number one, she didn't try to build a case for why her decision was, in her mind, the right decision. She could have, on a very national platform, I am sure, buried her ex. She could have. She has that ability. She could have blamed him for everything.
Not.
She could have She could have. She didn't. Secondly, she owned the fact that her decision did bring pain to people. She talked about her child.
Yeah.
Is it her son? Yeah. And her ex. And she talked about them, both of them, with compassion and the reality that this decision that she felt like was the right decision was going to bring them pain.
Yeah.
And so she wasn't trying to skirt around any of that. And there's this little phrase I've been using a lot with people, and it's, you know, choose truth over perception or perfection.
The perception of perfection.
Yes, choose truth over perception or perfection. Either or.
Okay.
Yeah, like you don't. I think so often in life, what we do is we choose, you know, to try to live up to people's perception, and we try to live up to perfection. And at some point, it's about choosing your truth, and she did that, right? And you know, I took a tremendous amount of courage for her to do that at that level. And you know, when you read her lyrics, you're talking about the stuff she talked about. You know, the be kind. I was young. You know, all that for me, all I was hearing was, hey, I'm human.
I made a mistake.
Or I'm human. Yes, I am human. And I think so often we forget that. And when we forget that, when we stop seeing people as human and we start seeing them as villains, and they made that wrong decision, they did this, they were trying to hurt. Like, when you do that, when you shrink somebody down to they're a bad person or they're a villain, it just changes the whole narrative. And I think I don't know why we do that, but we're on this particular story that's about divorce, and in almost every divorce that I've ever talked to people or walked people through, people always try to position as there's the victim and there's the villain, and rarely is it that clean and cut, right? Rarely is it there's the villain, there's the victim. It is usually a mix of both. And I felt like what she was doing was not saying, I'm not going to let you put me in the victim role or the villain role. I am a human being trying to figure out life. Could you be easy on me? And I love that.
Yep.
My answer to her is yes, absolutely. I can be easy on you. Why wouldn't I be? Right?
Yep. Yeah. It's seems very simple and easy to be like, sure, especially when you hear the person who is hurting reach out in the words that she did, right? And if all of us had a platform and could sing like Adele, I think we'd all say those words in that moment. But I was listening to the lyrics and she says, can you go easy on me? And I remember thinking like, I couldn't say no to someone asking me that. I'm not saying Adele, but like if my neighbor came to me and said, hey, I'm going through this. Can you go easy on me? Can you, like, anybody, my family, my friends, you, my kids, anything. It's like, if you hear someone hurting, whether or not they chose the path that they're walking on, whether it was inflicted on them or that they chose it, your compassion should not be reserved, in my opinion. It's really easy to reserve your compassion when you think that someone chose something and this is their consequence. I got that a lot in my divorce where it was like, well, this is kind of what you chose. This is going to be hard. Yep, you are going to, go live by yourself in an apartment and have the weekends alone. Like there's things that people would think and say, and how hurtful and how like naive to assume that everything, is one-sided. But anyways, all that to say, I think my heart in this is just to encourage compassion for people in your life who maybe their decisions don't align with something that you would say would be a decision that you would make in any capacity. I'm not talking like politics or COVID status or anything like that. I'm talking like their life decisions that would impact your desire to stand beside them publicly, right? So, I think just pretend that you don't know the whole story. Pretend you don't know my whole story. Pretend you don't know your neighbor's whole story.
Because you don't.
Because you don't. You don't. And you might know one side of the story that makes you think that you know the whole story. It doesn't matter. It just boils my blood. But pretend you don't know about the manipulation that they're going through. Pretend you don't know about the emotional abuse that they're going through. Pretend you don't know about the addiction that their partner is suffering through, that they're also suffering through, that makes them unseen, unknown, and completely unloved. Just saying. Like, there's so much that people don't even have the courage to talk about publicly, even if you feel like that you know them. So just go easy on them. Go easy on your mom, go easy on your dad, go easy on your siblings, go easy on your coworkers, your neighbors, your children. It to me, people will disagree with me on this, but to me, people are just starving for compassion, and you cannot go wrong giving compassion. It does not mean you approve their decisions. It doesn't mean that you think that they should do it again, right? But compassion and love is what changes people. Reprimanding and the cold shoulder does not change people. If it changes people, they're changing for you and they're not changing for themselves. And that's not what you want either. I think ultimately when people change because of the love they've received, that is a life-changing change. And not only does it change their lives and their hearts, but it will change the people that they encounter because they said, I've felt this love, I've received this love, and I'm going to give that back. And I think that's ultimately, like in my life, when I've received love, all it did was ignite me to love back. So Adele makes me want to love people more and have more compassion. And you guys heard my whole life story because of it, but it just really shook me differently. And I'm so proud of her for having the voice that she does, and the courage and the bravery to kind of speak out, even though societal norms would say that that's not accepted. So I don't know. I applaud her bravery.
And I applaud your bravery. I really do.
Thank you.
I'm really, really proud of you. It's not easy to share parts of your story like you did and be vulnerable about that. Look at me in the eyes.
I don't do that.
And I'm really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm also proud about the way in which you tell your story. You tell it in a very loving, graceful way that never throws other people under the bus, but also is honest about ways that you think you might have hurt people. I don't know. I love that about you, and I'm extremely proud of you, and you inspire me to want to go easy on people. You inspire me to want to be more loving to the people around us in our life, and so
thank you.
That means the world to me.
Aw, thanks. Y'all just came into our marriage for a hot second.
Yeah.
No, I
so want to sing the song. I'm not going to do it because I think it breaks copyright laws.
Not only would it break copyright laws, we would just disgrace the song so tremendously. So go listen to it. It's amazing. Her whole album comes out. I may even do a whole, if her album is anything like the single, there's more of these podcasts to come.
Yep. Choose truth over perception. Choose truth over perfection.
Mm-hmm. Be true to yourself and go easy on people. Go easy on yourself. I think the reason a lot of times we're not easy on other people is because we're not easy on ourselves. Or maybe you weren't afforded the same sentiment. Someone wasn't easy on you.
Yeah.
And that sucks. But you can make it right by being easy on yourself and being easy on other people.
That's right. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Happy
of it, because we've got it all going
4th
on
of July.
And as always, guys, we're just so grateful. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thanks for listening to our different ramblings about life and Adele and all things. And we're just super grateful. As always, if you'll leave a what do they leave?
Review on iTunes.
Review on iTunes, yeah.
Yeah, leave us a review, rate us.
Rate us. That's what I was looking for. Rate us.
Yeah. If you do that, you can send us an email at info@theplaceforgood.com with the picture of your rating. We'll give you a free journal. It's digital. It's just 30 days of good. So it's
perfect.
It's great. Yeah. So send us your review if you want to.
Hey, thanks again for sharing. And thank you guys for listening. Have an amazing week and be kind.